What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this edition of Sharpe Shorts. Let's get right to it. It is common knowledge in the manosphere, hell, it's common knowledge in America, that getting married is a fool's errand. We're also aware that getting married to American women is definitely a sucker's bet. I talked about this this past Monday evening with Quintus Curtius. Definitely check that episode out on donovansharpe.com. Anyway, the raw truth, gentlemen, is that married men are not, they aren't nearly as content as men who are not married. It wasn't always like this, because a man who had a loving wife and kids to come home to was far more happy and satisfied than men playing the field for an extended period of time. But in 2018, guys, the average married man is far more miserable than perpetual bachelors. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys 3 reasons why. Number 1, this one's simple. Married men ain't getting laid. To put it simply, guys, today's wives just aren't fucking their husbands anymore. She gave up the pussy. She gave the pussy at will when they first got together. But again, that was a means to an end. She knew that she was not only laying the groundwork to control him later, but she also realized that today's weak-minded men will give her sexual equity to be used at her will at any time without a statute of limitation. So for example, a woman will fuck a man twice a day for the first month. Then she'll throttle the sex in month 2, thinking that because she gave him the booty all the time last month, that it somehow gives her a free pass to close her legs, yet still deserves the favors and benefits that fucking him regularly early on affords her. Wives are notorious for pulling this kind of trick. They think, well, I fucked him long enough for the first 2 years and had a couple of kids, so if I let him fuck me once a week, that's just the icing on the cake, and sometimes it's not even that extensive. Marrying a woman, gentlemen, almost guarantees that the sex will fall off as soon as you recite your wedding vows, and the drop-off is precipitous. 1 minute, you're fucking her senseless 3 times a day, but the minute you say, I do, her legs snap shut like a bear trap. Sex is a biological desire for men, and if they're not getting it from the women who are legally required to share a residence with them, read, of course, wife, his life is miserable. Number 2, their wives stay out of pocket. There are a few reasons, there are a few things that keep a woman in line and well behaved. Being high value means obviously being in great shape, financially stable. That means you're a high value male, gives you leverage. Having leverage on a woman may sound like a bad thing, but trust me when I tell you that it is not. So for example, if your sexual market value is 2 points higher than hers, like if you're an 8 and she's a 6, you have leverage on her. If you make more money than your wife, you have leverage on her, or your girlfriend, you have leverage on her. It shouldn't take leverage to keep a woman in line, but we don't deal in the should, gentlemen. We deal in facts and reality. The behavior of today's wives are at an all-time low, guys. Weight gain, mouthiness, disrespect, infidelity, and a flippant attitude about marriage in general. Those are just a few examples of how far women have fallen in terms of behaving like married women should. Now, the reason why wives are behaved so poorly is because they know that as soon as you walk down the aisle, she has already started the process of consolidating on your present and future earnings. When she has your kids, she knows she's got you by the balls, guys. That's called leverage. Married men, listen, man, you guys can get as mad as they want to. They can get as mad as they want to and threaten this or that, but at the end of the day, today's wives know that they don't have to act right, because in the event of a divorce, often initiated by the wife, they'll get the kids, they'll get the child support, and if she has the right attorney, paid for, of course, by the ex-husband, she will also get alimony. When a woman knows that she has a decided advantage in divorce and family court, what incentive does she have to behave herself? Number 3, the third and final reason married men are fucking miserable, they have zero control over their own lives. Being able to make decisions unilaterally, guys, that is the single most valuable commodity a man has in his life. You want steak and lobster for dinner? Done. You want to take a weekend biking trip in the mountain with your buddies for the weekend? Done. You want to hit the casino and maybe hit on cougars? Go out for a night on the town and maybe hit on cougars in for town business when she's cheating on her husband? And maybe score an easy hotel room for the night? Done. A man who can do whatever he wants and whenever he wants and do it all without having to ask permission from his wife is far from miserable. Married men are miserable because anything they want to do, they got to run it by the boss or the warden first. You ever heard a man call his wife, oh, I got to run this by the boss? I used to be in sales. Well, why don't you want to, oh, I got to run this by the warden? And because women want to feel like they're in charge of everything, their first instinct is to deny the request of the husband. Steak and lobster for dinner? No, we can't afford it, and I'm tired of cooking. Weekend camping trip, biking trip with your buddy? Hell no, what am I supposed to do? Stay here with the kids all by myself? Anything a married man wants to do is always subject to review by his wife. A man has no unilateral autonomy. Dude, a man who doesn't have that decision-making skill, as I get tied up on that word salad, is in a perpetual miserable state. He is perpetually miserable. Gentlemen, it is painfully obvious that getting married to an American woman is the worst decision a man can make in his life. Dude, the sacrifice of finances, personal freedom, and of course the suffering of mental anguish, obviously among other things, that isn't even close to worth dealing with if you want to live this American dream and have a family. And look, man, having a family, living that American dream, that's something that all men are biologically hardwired to desire. Well, unfortunately, the pursuit of the American dream is ultimately what destroys men. Don't buy into the myth that married men are truly happy. And don't buy into the myth that if you play the field, you're going to die. Listen, we're all going to die alone whether we're married or not. Any man who simply takes a look around and see the carnage that is today's marriages will quickly see that men are fucking miserable. Why? It's because of their wives. Follow, add, and like me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and be sure to tune in Sunday through Thursday evenings at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific for TSR Primetime on DonovanSharpe.com. Thanks for watching.